This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time.
That was CNN anchor Casey Hunt ending an interview with Trump spokesperson Karoline Leavitt because she dared to bring up the fact that the debate moderators Dana Bash and Jake Tapper are anti-Trump propagandists. Here are a few examples of their totally unbiased reporting.
The dehumanizing rhetoric of Adolf Hitler is once again alive and well on a national political stage. This time, of course, in the United States. Donald Trump, a couple times over the weekend, referred to immigrants from South America, Africa, and Asia. He did not mention Europe. South America, Africa, and Asia as, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, which it's not hyperbole. That does very directly echo Adolf Hitler's language before World War II. To open up a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf, you would find the Nazi leader describing the mixing of non-Germans with Germans as poisoning. There's really no other way to say it. Donald Trump's language mirrors this directly. We have some breaking news now. CNN has learned new information about that ongoing investigation into those allegations raised in a collection of memos created by a former British intelligence agent at the time he made the memos for political opponents of then candidate Donald Trump.
Look, unfortunately for America, the court isn't necessarily wrong that this is the way the framers wanted it to be. They wanted Congress, the people who are closest to their constituents, to be able to make the rules of the laws.
Here's the full exchange between Hunt and Leavitt, where the news network that claims to be saving democracy cuts off the Trump spokesperson because she said things that they didn't like.
Can you tell us what Donald Trump is going to do differently on the debate stage this time?
Sure. Well, President Trump is well prepared ahead of Thursday's debates. Unlike Joe Biden, he doesn't have to hide away and have his advisors tell him what to say. President Trump knows what he wants to say, and he's going to relay his vision to the American people to make this country strong, safe, secure, and wealthy again. He's been doing that across this great nation to all corners of this country. That's why he was in Detroit, Michigan last week. He was in Philadelphia for a big rally on Saturday night, and that's why President Trump is knowingly going into a hostile environment on this very network, on CNN, with debate moderators who have made their opinions about him very well known over the past 8 years and their biased coverage of him. So President Trump is willing to bring his message to every corner of this country, to voters, to ensure that he wins this election in November. He looks forward to doing that, and I know the American public look forward to hearing from him.
So I'll just say my colleagues, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, have acquitted themselves as professionals as they have covered campaigns and interviewed candidates from all sides of the aisle. I'll also say that if you talk to analysts of debates previous, that if you're attacking the moderators, you're usually losing. So I really want to focus in on what these two men are going to do and say when they stand on the stage. He's basically saying there, well, will I let Joe Biden win? It does seem as though many Republicans have set the bar very low in terms of arguing that Joe Biden is basically senile. Now you have people like Doug Burgum coming out and saying, well, President Biden's very accomplished, trying to set expectations in a different place. What do you expect from Joe Biden?
Well, first of all, it would take someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently, frequently likened President Trump to Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome to come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden when they both join us now at later this week in Atlanta for this debate.
So Hunt claimed that they cut this interview off because she was attacking her co-workers, which is pretty ironic coming from her, considering this is how she covered Rand Paul being attacked by his neighbor.
Details today on the incident that left Senator Rand Paul with 6 broken ribs. This might be one of my favorite stories, although, of course, we don't want to. Clearly, Senator Paul is still struggling. Paul's neighbor, Renee Boucher, is accused of beating the senator.
To quote Chris Plant, if there were no double standards, they wouldn't have standards at all. Meanwhile, when CNN is not running segments cutting off the representatives of the Trump campaign, they're running segments like this.
I'm curious for you, first of all, what this day means to you. And second of all, have both Democrats and Republicans agreed to meet with you?
Yes, we will be meeting with both Democrats and Republicans. And I'm really excited to go speak with all of our lawmakers about the attacks that we're seeing on our LGBTQ community. It's so important to talk about and to discuss protections for our queer community.
Can I let you listen to the current sentiment that's being shared by former President Donald Trump, who, of course, is running for re-election? Here it is.
We're going to take care of our capital. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding of any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children.
In those three things, he mentions what he calls transgender insanity. If he's voted in as the next president, what will that mean to you?
We already see so many attacks on our queer community. I already don't feel safe in my own hometown, just dressed in drag like this. And it's very scary for queer people to exist in a time where we see this kind of rhetoric being pushed by our lawmakers and the people who should care about other issues that actually affect the American people, other than attacking our community, our LGBTQIA plus community. It's very disappointing, and I hope for better for our country.
After her interview was cut short, Leavitt went on Fox News to talk about the back and forth between her and Hunt.
CNN censored me today because they can't handle the truth. And they have been pushing lies about President Trump since he stepped into the political arena 8 years ago. They propagated the Russia hoax. They helped the Biden campaign censor the truth about the Hunter Biden laptop story. They pushed the Charlottesville hoax that a far left outlet finally 7 years later debunked yesterday. And they have an anti-Trump bias that is at the core of their organization. And we should not expect anything less from them at Thursday night's debate. But again, President Trump knows that, but he is still willing to step into the arena to fight back, to bring his winning message. In this debate, regardless of it being 3-on-1, is going to be a great opportunity for President Trump to highlight his strength, his willingness to fight for the American people with Joe Biden's weakness and his incompetent, terrible policies that are failing this country, and CNN has largely refused to cover over the last 3.5 years.
They are liberal, Democratic, hate Trump talk show hosts masquerading as journalists. What was your reaction as this was unfolding today?
Well, it was a little bit shocking, I'll be honest with you, to have my microphone cut off and dumped from the program after less than 2 minutes. And all I was doing was repeating statements that Jake Tapper has said on air himself about President Trump. So Jake Tapper can go on the air. He can lie about President Trump. He can say his presidency was an American nightmare. He could push the Hunter Biden laptop scandal in an effort to help Joe Biden's campaign. And he can compare President Trump to Hitler, which is disgusting and egregious. But when I try to breach that subject on the network, they cut me off, they can me. Again, it's because they still want Americans to believe, laughably, that they're the most trusted name in news. They are not. They are an anti-Trump institution, just like basically every other main institution in this great country.
And I love your ears.